Hey guys, so let me explain what I'm doing here. I am building a 1969 Mustang from scratch. Reason being, the car I bought had hundreds of pounds of Bondo in it. It had over 85 metal patches. They did an amazing job actually with the Bondo and the patches because it looked really good when I bought it. And then once I took it to the Media Blaster, it ended up being, complete Swiss cheese. Like they dragged it out of a swamp and just threw some Bondo on it, a drivetrain, an interior, put it up on eBay, and I bought it. So this project was supposed to be me and my dad's last project together. We were going to build a Mustang I tribute car. He ended up passing away a couple years ago, and it sat in my garage. Didn't do anything with it, and then COVID hit. I lost another friend of mine who is also really into cars and also a mentor. And I realized I got to do it now. I don't want to be one of these guys that waits till he's 50 or 60 to restore a Mustang or something like that. So I'm going to get into it right now, actually. And I've been buying parts for about a year and finally have enough to start the project. So I wanted to show you why I'm doing this, show you the shell, and then what I've got going on behind me. So right over here, you can see what's left of the shell here. The entire car, after I got it back from the Media Blaster, was just done. The whole car, Swiss cheese. Everywhere, every single panel. You can still see one of the patches here. They were riveted in, then bondoed. Like I said, exceptionally well. I can't really be mad at it because they did such a really good job. So I can't really be mad at them because, they got me. You can see there, the floor assembly looked pretty much just like this. Every panel, like I said, is just cooked. Still some Bondo in there. The Media Blaster said it took hours and hours to get it out. Now, I made this brace here so that when they picked it up with the forklift at the Media Blaster, it was just an empty shell at that point. I didn't want it to flex or bend because I knew the floor had holes in it, the frame had holes in it. And what's cool though is I'm going to use this when I bolt together the body side assemblies. So this was cool because then I'll have perfect side-to-side measurements for that. But you can see here, everywhere, whole thing. Like I said, it's like they dragged it out of a swamp, whole car. It's bad. So instead of replacing every panel, I decided to just keep that for measurements at this point and then build a new one. So what I have here is an assembly table that a good friend of mine is borrowing, and all of my body parts have come from NPD. Fortunately, NPD is a 20-minute drive from here. It's an incredible resource. The collection is here, so I've had the opportunity to check out his Rick's Boss 429. He's got a couple Mach 1s. It's amazing to have them so close. I've got the full floor pan assembly here. It's welded to the floor here, and also I used this diagram, which has the datum line and also the very important 3 measurements to make sure that it's positioned correctly. Here are those side assemblies. I wanted to buy as many parts as I could that were set up already with factory spec measurements, so it was less I had to do. I've never done anything like this before. I'm not a body guy, never built a car. I have some experience with welding and building stuff, so I'm going to give it a shot, and I sort of feel like, well, if I can do it with no experience really, maybe it'll inspire others to take on a project like this too. I was definitely inspired by the Peterson restoration YouTube videos. Great job, showing how to do a lot of what I'm going to be doing here. So the usable stuff from the Mustang. Basically, front fenders, the trunk, the fold down rear seat, the dash I can use, possibly the front doors. They need a bunch of work. What I have over here is the Mustangs to Fear full long subframe. Basically, it ties into the front leaf spring bolts there, and it's going to be fully welded. Also, a Watts Link rear suspension, QA1s all the way around, rack and pinion steering. I'm going to do electric power steering. I've got my rear end over here, also from Mustangs to Fear. It's a full floater. It'll have Willwood brakes all the way around, all that sort of thing. The 302 that was in the car runs and drives perfect. I rebuilt the C4 myself, shifts great. And I'm real excited to get this thing going. Oh, that's the interior for the car. But that was what was in it. But I'm not going to use probably any of that. So I'll have a bunch of parts for sale eventually. So I also wanted to add one of the reasons why I'm doing this. So my dad was an automotive writer. He wrote, dozens of books on cars, took all his own photography. We were going to car shows, since I was a little kid. He owned 2 Boss Store 29s, a Shelby GT350 convertible, a 70 Mach 1, was always into Mustangs, so he heavily influenced me in this purchase. We were going to do this together. We were going to build it together. And so, a lot of this is for him, I feel like, in a lot of ways. So we'll get it going, and I feel like he's here with me because he would love to be a part of this. So it's going to be really great. So I wanted to make a note about the full assembly here. It wasn't perfect when I got it. It might have been because it was leaned up against the wall for like 6 months, but this edge here was off quite a bit compared to the other side. The whole thing was tweaked. And so what I did was the front measurement here, according to the diagram, is 6 inches there. At the back here, these bars, it's 11 3/16, okay? And then at the hole for the front leaf spring bolt, the very middle of it needs to be 6.5. And this one was dead on 6.5, and that one over there was like 7.25. So the whole thing was tweaked up. So I welded the front 2 and the rear 2, got this welded here, and then on this side what I did was I grabbed well, first I had these 2 anvils, which is 200 pounds. It only moved it about 1/4 inch down, and then I had a buddy of mine come over who's 275 pounds, and it only moved it another 1/4 inch. So what I ended up doing was hooking up a ratchet strap and then using one of the lift bolt holes, and just, it pulled down in like 3 clicks. I can't believe how strong a ratchet strap is to pull metal into place. So welded it up, and it's now in spec. And so the next thing I'm doing is I'm going to prepare these side assemblies by using a pneumatic hole punch and punch all the holes on the top here, and then on the bottom, both sides, and fit them into place with clamps. Once they're in position, I'll use self-tapping screws to screw them in tighter, both sides, and then I'll take that frame that I made for that shell and bolt those together, because that's already perfect measurements. It's already perfectly square. I'll bolt them into place, and then I know those are going to be positioned exactly where they need to be. So that's the next part that I'm doing, and it's going to be great.